Ares and the War of Shadows. In the heart of Mount Olympus, where the clouds swirl like silk around peaks of gold and marble, Ares, the god of war, stood restless. He was a being of chaos and might, with fire in his blood and fury in his eyes. Though he was the son of Zeus and Hera, he was feared even among gods. While Athena embodied strategy and noble combat, Ares represented the raw, blood-soaked fury of battle. But even gods have their trials. Long had Ares been scorned by his siblings and fellow Olympians. They mocked his brute force, his lack of subtlety. Even mortals prayed to Athena before war, seldom to him. It was during the twilight of a war between two mighty cities, Spartalon and Delener, that Ares descended, eager to prove that his power was more than chaos. As the battle raged, Ares stepped onto the field, unseen by mortals, and with a single shout ignited a storm of fear and madness. Men turned on each other in frenzy. Blood stained the earth black. But from the chaos rose a different presence. Out of the dying screams came Nyxios, a shadow-forged creature said to be born from the very darkness of Tartarus. No one had seen him before, but the gods felt his surge. He absorbed the pain and death Ares left behind, feeding on it, growing stronger. "Who dare sap strength from my war?" Ares growled, voice echoing across worlds. Nyxios replied in a whisper, "The darkness is not yours alone, war god. Your rage is my harvest." Zeus called an emergency assembly. The shadows spreading across the world were not just a threat to mortals, but to Olympus itself. "This Nyxios thrives where your influence grows, Ares," Athena said, calm but pointed. "He steals from me," Ares thundered. "Let me rip him apart." "You gave him birth, even if not by will," Hera added. "This is your burden." Zeus raised a hand. "You must clean the wound you have opened, my son. Defeat Nyxios, but not with fire and fury. You must learn restraint, or your power will feed him forever." Ares balked at the idea. Restraint, that is Athena's game. But the king of gods did not waver. "Learn to wield your rage, or you shall lose it." Ares descended to Tartarus for the first time not as a conqueror, but as a seeker. With him came no army, no chariot of fire, only a war god stripped of glory. Tartarus was no place for the unprepared. Rivers of molten iron flowed beside whispering voids. Screams echoed from unseen mouths. Even for Ares, it was a place of discomfort. There he found Phobos and Deimos, his sons, gods of fear and terror, who once delighted in war but now trembled. "Nyxios is devouring even gods," Phobos said. "He eats more than death," Deimos whispered. "He drinks fear and he's coming." Ares moved forward, finally confronting the being that now loomed like a god himself. Nyxios stood with skin of shadows and eyes that glowed like dying stars. "Do you see now, Ares?" Nyxios said. "You make war, but I make darkness eternal." Ares charged, lightning clashed with shadow, but for every blow Ares struck, Nyxios grew darker. Every drop of rage, every ounce of violence strengthened the enemy. Defeated and bleeding, Ares stumbled back, humiliated, the god of war, undone by the very essence of his being. He retreated into the world of mortals and wandered, watching wars without intervening, listening rather than shouting. He saw children born amidst ruin, lovers weep beside graves, cities rebuild with trembling hope. He began to understand. War was not just rage, it was sacrifice, protection, a choice, sometimes unjust but often necessary. He had known only the fury, never the cost. Determined, Ares climbed Mount Etna, home of Hephaestus, the smith god. "Brother," he said, "I need a weapon not to kill but to cleanse." Hephaestus, surprised but intrigued, forged for Ares the Aegirn, a spear tempered not only in flame but in the waters of Lethe, the river of forgetfulness. "Strike not to destroy," Hephaestus warned, "but to sever the bonds of hatred." With Aegirn in hand, Ares descended once more. Nyxios had risen from Tartarus, cloaking the lands in despair. Mortal armies could not see him, but they felt him, in endless wars with no purpose, leaders driven mad with lust for violence. Ares stood in the center of a battlefield once more, but this time he did not scream, he did not strike first. Instead, he raised Aegirn and drove it into the earth. A wave spread not of destruction but of clarity. Soldiers dropped their weapons, not out of fear but choice. Nyxios reeled. "What is this treachery?" "Understanding," Ares said, "the one weapon you cannot consume." The shadow beast lunged, but Ares did not fight with fury. He parried with control, struck not at the body, but at the bonds of pain that held Nyxios together. Each blow severed a memory of madness, each move a redemption of rage. In the final strike, Ares whispered, "This is for all I never saw." And Nyxios crumbled into dust. Redemption and